Hey guys, this is Ollie, aka Soul Warrior, on the official Rivengard forums as well as in Rivengard itself. Today we're gonna do something a little special. We're gonna take a very close look at one of the newest units in the game, who also happens to be one of the strongest units in the game. The unit I'm talking about is none other than Queen Aceshru. So let's take a quick look at the Queen herself. She's here in the middle, one of my stronger units, not my strongest units. You can see that right here. She's got XP level 27. So she has been leveled up. I've put some work into her. So she's like competitive in a way, but even though she's not at the highest level, there are a couple of things that immediately jump out to you. So the important things, the plus signs, is the range. Range 3 is always huge. There are not that many units that have a range of 3, and even better about Aceshru is that sometimes she feels like she has an effective range of 4. I'm going to talk about that later in this video. Just keep it in the back of your head. The other thing is, she's not slow. She's not a slow mover like a Bullmon or someone. She's got 3 movement on top of that. So that is one of the units that you absolutely love to hate seeing in arena, because whenever she's on the other side, you know that you need to hide in some bushes or take a step back, because she's gonna close that gap between your team and the opponent's team in absolutely no time. On top of that, it's not just that she packs a punch that she can properly deal some damage. She's also got an AoE active. The Dark Dragon is like her best friend, basically her pet at this point, I guess. So she's able to summon the Dark Dragon, who's gonna fly over a straight line, which is a bit weird because we've all seen Game of Thrones. We know that these dragons can fly in like 8s and 7s and all kinds of different shapes, but okay. This Dark Dragon is a bit lazy, so he can also fly in a straight line. That is not a bad thing. Like, no worries guys if you're like, yeah, I've seen better units. Yes and no. Some other units are very flexible, but she's also versatile, and she's very, very unique in this way, because she's the only unit that can reach units on the other end of the field after moving. I'm looking at you, Lionette. I'm looking at you. Alright, so the Dark Dragon, very, very strong active, but I kid you not, it's not the reason why I would recommend playing that unit. It's a very strong active, I'm not saying anything against it, but it's not like on the Dorga level of actives. So it is good, but it's not the reason to play this unit. The reason you want to play this unit is the versatility. You can do so much with her. That is due to the fact that she does pack a punch. She's got like some decent magical damage output. She's by no means at the end of leveling her up. We're just looking at a bronze rank 3 unit here. If you put in the work and you get her to gold rank 1, or even if it's a silver rank, she's gonna pack a serious punch and do a lot of damage. And that damage isn't just something that she like throws out and then it's gone. It's like you do your damage one time and then it's gone. The damage basically turns into a shade, which is her passive effect, which is the reason why this unit was so hard to unlock in the festival, where we were all able to, where we all were able in theory to unlock her. Not all of us did so in time, unfortunately, for one of the quests where you needed her, which was a bit of a hiccup for most of us in that festival. But let's not digress too much. So when she attacks, she doesn't like do the work herself. Just like she summons the Dark Dragon, she's summoning a shade, and the shade is attacking on her behalf. So the shade at the beginning has a higher damage than she does. So the shade here has 233 damage and she only has 160 magical damage. Later on, the roles are going to be reversed. She's very likely going to have like so much attack that the shades are not leveling up in the same way. So over the time, the shades should become a little bit weaker than her active effect, but that's like no knock on her. That's really something. There's one caveat to all this power, which is very typical for all of the units, all of them, that have 3 range and 3 movement. She is paper thin. Like 399 health is not a lot. And she does have some rare equipment here. It's not like I put her in some priestess goons or some even worse mage armor. So even though she already has like a better armor, she does not have a lot of health. That is crucial in arena, where you're going up against some of the strongest damage dealers in the field, like guys like a Nimrod. But that also means that guys like a Granny, a Grandma Bones, can rather easily get rid of her with her active. Now granted, the Granny currently is on level 30, her active is on level 30, and my Queen Aceshru is only on level 27. And if I keep leveling up her gear, that's gonna, like, we're gonna be closing the gap, or rather the gap is gonna be bigger, and Queen Aceshru should survive an attack by Granny. So to wrap this up, the part about the stats of the unit, she's got great range, she's got great mobility, she's extremely flexible, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in the second part of this video, but that all of that power comes at a price. She has very low health. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the active ability of Queen Aceshru. So here we have units like perfectly lined up for us, and we got one of the best ranged units in the game with Tim. And look at Tim. He can hit a lot of them, but he cannot hit all of them, especially the ones in the back. Very different story for Queen Aceshru. She doesn't kill all of them because her active isn't like high enough at the moment, but she does get to kill 2 of them, and she does damage to all of them. And another important point here is that they are all standing in darkness. So let's just take a very quick break. Darkness is already becoming more and more of a thing because of units like Nimrod that apparently now deal more damage when an opposing unit is standing or surrounded by darkness. And we are currently in a festival where we can unlock another unit that then has a chance to spawn a shade in every tile with darkness. So just look at something like that. That's like the perfect setup for the Reaper that's going to be unleashed on the world very, very soon. And he can then in theory spawn 3 more shades in the back. That is going to be like a very big deal. But let's look a little bit more at these shades because they do so much. So they get attacked, and then first shade just does a straightforward attack, but look at the second shade right here. Let's just repeat this a little bit. So you see the opponents coming in, they do attack on the shades, it's my turn, and now the first shade does a regular attack, and the second shade suddenly jumps to the back and attacks the enemy from behind. The shades, thanks to the ability of being shade walkers, which just allows them to like basically teleport themselves from one end of the map to the other, they give you so much flexibility, and they are very, very hard to predict for the opponent. The opponent will have a very hard time figuring out what the shades exactly are going to do, and fortunately so far my experience has been that they are very, very strong at finding the right path just to maximize damage basically. So at this point this match is over. I mean, yes, these frost golems were not like strong enough for my team, but you can see really what Queen Aceshru brings to the table with her active, with the shades, and what all of those shades can do. Now I did mention initially that I think that Aceshru is great because of her active, but more so because of her passive. So let's take a closer look at that. This is your very typical arena match. Very unfortunate map for you, where you can't connect on the first turn. Fortunately, the opponent doesn't have like a whole lot of unit with 3 range. He does have a Myvera, but fortunately for you, Myvera is standing in the far back, so she cannot connect with you. But let's just imagine, for the sake of this argument, that Gix would be the biggest problem. Now look at what you can do with Queen Aceshru. You always want to go first with somebody else, a warrior to be precise, because then Katsume is going to take the shot at Katsume. And now look at the Queen, how she can shine here. So the shade doesn't spawn anywhere, the shade spawns in the best possible spot for us. This is a really good spot because the spot is basically blocking Gix here. Gix cannot get out of that corner all of a sudden. I mean, he could move here, but Gix doesn't really want to do that. And the AI is not very smart. The shade tends to like spawn in the best possible way. Gix tends to do the dumbest possible attack. And I've tried this a million times. Believe me when I say Gix tries to do the dumbest attack. So let's see what Gix is doing here. This opponent is way stronger than me, by the way. I'm just doing this like to show you something. Alright, what did Gix do here? Gix apparently got rid or damaged his own guy, basically through his pipe bomb at Dorga. And that happens a lot in Arena. You can do so much with these shades if you just start putting in some work and try to figure them out. Very, very often you can trick opposing units like a Gix into making like the worst possible attack for their own team because they're so focused on the shade. So that's a very, very big deal. Let's look at another arena match to really drive home this point that Aceshru is so smart and her shades are so smart. So look at this match. We just do our typical opening. We do attack with Gix, we do attack with Dorga. Also in that order. Normally you want to attack with Gix first and with Dorga, just by the way. And now Queen Aceshru basically has a range of 4. She's 3 fields removed from Nimrod, but the shade spawns behind Nimrod and he can even attack him from an elevated position. And this will happen all the time. Whenever there's an option for the shade to spawn in an elevated position, he will do so. So that in a way feels like giving Queen Aceshru an effective range of even 4 fields. Now there's some nice combo potential, as we can see here. You can spawn these shades and then the shades can attack. But now there's something even more important here. So this is the very typical comeback that you see in Arena. This is the reason why we all love to hate Dorga. So suddenly Dorga swarms the field with all of those tadpoles and eggs. And usually the problem is you want to get rid of them and you only have 5 units, but Dorga for some reason is able to like churn out 20 eggs or something. That's at least what it feels like. Now look what Aceshru can do. She's one of the very few units that without using an active ability, just with her passive, can get rid of at least 2 eggs and even attack another unit or like take down yet another unit. So let's look at this. You can use her to step on 1 egg and then you do the attack on Dorga and the spawn will 100% spawn on top of another egg, and this happens all the time, and all of a sudden all of these tadpoles, all of these eggs become a lot more manageable for you. So if you're using her right, if you know how to make the most of Queen Aceshru, she can really give you an edge in Arena. Yes, we did briefly mention the combo potential with, of course, Accio, but it's not just that, it's also that the shades spawn in the best possible spot very often, and you can take out several units just with the passive of Queen Aceshru. So taking this all together, Queen Aceshru is like the total package. She is considered S tier for several of the stronger guilds in the game. Our guild at first was a bit like, yeah, we're not 100% sure if Queen Aceshru is really that good, if it's worth putting that much into her. But I can tell you guys, she is properly ranked in the S tier. She's among the strongest units in the game. There's one thing that I didn't even mention so far. I'm not 100% sure if this is always going to stay the same, but for the time being, the active ability of the Queen Aceshru, the Summon of the Dark Dragon, can turn whatever you want into a shade. That is also pretty big, because that's another way to punish Dorga players, because you can actually turn those little eggs that were supposed to hatch a tadpole into a shade that works for you. This is fun in Treasure Beach, where you can actually turn items into shades, and that helps, yeah, but it's only going to get you so far, just gives you a little bit more gold. This is a lot more fun in modes like PvP, where you can actually turn opponents' Dorga eggs or something like that into a shade for yourself, and then have them put even more work in for you. Alright, so guys, I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you learned something new today about Queen Aceshru. If you got a comment, if you want to see another unit and want me to take a closer look at it, let me know in the comment section below. I'll be happy to take a look at the unit if I happen to have it, explaining you what it's all about, what's good, what's bad about this unit. For Queen Aceshru, it's really just she's paper thin, but other than that, she's great. Like, she checks all the boxes except for the health part. Alright guys, with that, see you guys very soon, hopefully on the Discord. If you want to join my guild and learn more about Rivengard, because I'm actually sharing my best guild strategies, and we're all sharing our best guild strategies. To be honest, there are some other guys that do a lot more damage than me on that guild. Just check out our Discord, become a member of Eternal Nexus, and we can show you how to like kick some dragon ass.